Hello, everyone. Welcome to the What's Your Vibe Show, a place dedicated to bringing awareness toward a healthier emotional lifestyle through sharing stories, studies, techniques, and ancient wisdom. My name is Norma Cardenas, and I am your emotional wellness facilitator. Hey, welcome back. Welcome back to the What's Your Vibe Show. I am Norma Cardenas, and I have today a special guest and a friend, Frank Banos, and we are actually colleagues also at the same time. So today I want to start titling my shows. Right? So today we decided that the title of this show is actually going to be, and it's probably going to end up in series because there's no way we can unpack this in one moment, right? There's so much to it, right?
So many layers.
Yeah. So we're calling this the beginning of the series of the secrets of successful relationships.
Yes.
Right. Okay. So one of the things is that Frank and I. Oh, Frank, what is your? Actually, you're the communications relationship expert.
Yes.
All right. So that's what Frank does. But we are both. Our background is that we are certified hypnotherapists.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So we have lots of discussions all the time because we run into different situations and different perspectives on our clients and things like that. And it's been very, very cool to kind of get to know the differences because we get to know each other more, right?
Yeah. Well, especially you learn so much from your clients. You know?
Yeah. It's
as
very
much as
reciprocal.
we say we love our clients, we want to support, but sometimes as we're talking, we get like, oh, I got to use that mirror in front of me too. You know?
Yeah. Exactly.
I gotta take that in.
That's why I love doing this. I love doing this stuff.
Oh yeah.
And I think that one of the things that I brought you on for is because we were having this short discussion the other day about the introvert and the extrovert through the subconscious mind.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And then we're giving our different perspectives on how we actually explain that to our clients.
Yeah.
So this is our attempt to explain this little piece to the world. Okay. Yeah. And then, like I said, we're going to have more shows on it so that we can unpack the different levels of it. Yeah. But I think we can get through the unpacking of
today
will
just be
right?
like the beginning, the picture. Like, here's the idea, extrovert and introvert. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. Because I think we did agree that
yes.
One of the most valuable pieces we got in training was this part about learning the introvert and extrovert.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Because it goes into so many things about people.
Everything.
And we had to learn it for ourselves.
Yes.
So all our training really is to get to know ourselves better.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
And everybody you meet is a relationship. Not your significant other, but it's a relationship that you have with your boss, your colleagues, everyone.
Your children.
Children, yes. Yeah. Have you ever had your mom say, God, you're just like your father?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And we'll explain what that means too, by the way.
Yeah. That could take a whole show too by itself.
Yes.
But so one of the things I want to do, so then let's see how we could kind of give a little bit and then kind of try to find examples like we were talking. Of course, now we're on the air, so you know how that works. It's like, oh, now everything's going to go out the window.
Exactly. Why are you holding that? Just
right? But
notes? Nah.
Notes? What do we don't need notes? Okay. So Okay, so the history of it is that we are trained in hypnotherapy.
Right.
And the kind of, what kind of clients do you normally get? Because your focus has been more on the communications and relationship.
Yeah. I guess it's kind of one of those things where you find yourself lacking in an area and just saying, I need to get better at this. Mm-hmm. And for me, it was tons of bad relationships. And if you're out there and you dated me, I'm sorry. But it's also just the way I handled myself with the world. Mm-hmm. I didn't know I was doing certain things that was bugging certain individuals. So I wanted to know more. I wanted to dig in. How I got into hypnotherapy is because I had a fear of public speaking. And I worked for a politician, and sometimes he didn't need to. He couldn't show up, so I had to speak for him. And he was a great speaker. He could make people cry, make himself cry. So that high standard, I was like, I got to make people cry. So that's how I got into hypnotherapy. But from that, I just found the relationship part fascinating. Mm-hmm. So now I attract a lot of people that want to be in a relationship, stop dating the same people over and over again, but in a different body?
Oh, why certain situations keep
How
happening?
come they keep
Yeah,
on repeating? Like
repeating.
you're like in a loop. Why is it so hard for me to, let's say, accept love? Or why is it so hard for me to be in a relationship? All of the above. So, a lot of communication not only with your significant other, but with yourself. So I attract those type of individuals. I do other things like kids with learning disabilities, stop
Right,
smoking,
but
all that stuff.
I know that about you, that
Hmm.
you do attract more of the relationship type,
Yes,
or
yes,
the subjects become more of a relationship
yeah.
oriented type of thing. So, and we're not relationship therapist type of, it's just these are what clients bring up. So,
Hmm.
normally, like when I do with my clients too, is that uh, the client wants to come in and then bring in their significant other. And I'm like, well, that's
Nope,
not the type
nope.
of services I do. But we're going to talk about,
There you go. Yeah,
let's
yeah.
learn more about what it is that you think needs to happen or change. And then we could go back and see where it's coming from,
Yeah, yeah. I
or the
see that as
perspective.
of like, if you bring two people together, you're just working on the marriage, not the individual.
Right.
If you work on the individual, then that person works on the marriage,
Mm-hmm.
and then
Mm-hmm.
they take their lives to the next level. So
Mm-hmm.
it's more like individual based.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, well, for us,
definitely.
that's what we're licensed for.
Oh yeah, oh
Individual
yeah.
sessions.
Individuals. Yeah.
Right. And if we do group, it's usually like, like a relaxation group
Hmm.
type of meditation. I do a lot of, my focus has been more on stress reduction,
Oh,
you know.
okay.
But everything is stress. All the relationships and everything's been
Definitely,
stressful, right?
definitely, and it's all usually when you misunderstand what another person's saying or how they come across.
Right. That's exactly why
Uh huh.
this particular subject, we all come back to this
Exactly.
particular subject, okay?
Exactly.
So, one of the things, like, or maybe you want to share something. Do you remember anything in particular that is really an aha moment for you? Like, especially let's go back to when we were training.
Okay. An aha moment for me. Oh, um, well, every time I would watch like watching TV, I would recognize certain people that are more introvert and extrovert,
Uh huh.
and I was like, wait a minute, how's that portrayed in my life? And then I noticed certain bosses are usually more introvert, and with the higher the position, they're more introvert. And then when you see them in public, they're extrovert, and it confuses me.
Oh,
And
because you know them, like if you know them in the
uh
office,
huh,
but then when they go out, they have to kind of
yeah,
switch
they
over.
switch over, and you're
Yeah.
like, what's going
Yeah.
on here? He's there, he's my best friend out here, but now in the office, it's like, what's just up, and right?
Yeah.
And the aha moment was that I realized, and then after learning this, is that my introverts, when it comes to their career, they switch on that extrovert really quick
Exactly.
to promote their career, to enhance it. They know how
Mm-hmm.
to tap into it. But then when you get them home, they're just like, oh, leave me alone. I'm tired.
Right. Because one thing, before we get into the core
Mm-hmm.
characteristics about these two kinds of
Yes.
personalities, one thing we do know is that the introverts, they can switch over to be kind of an extrovert on the outside, but they do need their downtime to
Oh,
rejuvenate,
yeah.
right?
Definitely.
And so then the
Definitely.
extroverts are the opposite,
Mm-hmm.
which would be they need to have more people around to actually
Just, I don't
be in there,
understand that.
right? Well, it's because we know exactly what we are,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly.
And that's what makes it. This is
that
really funny,
that
actually.
definitely was the aha moment for me. Is that I realized what I was doing. Maybe at work I was super extrovert, but then when I get back home, my significant other is like, usually when you're out with me, you're happy, and I go,
Hmm.
well, you look like you're miserable. Is everything okay?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
whoa! I just realized that I attracted an extrovert that needed my extroverts to come out. And usually when you're first dating, let's put it that way,
Hmm.
you both act like extroverts. No, you hang up. No,
That's the
you hang up.
honeymoon.
Yeah, I
That's
know.
the honeymoon
But
stage, right?
then what happens when
Yeah.
the introvert gets comfortable?
Well, when everybody settles into their own self,
Exactly.
you are opposite, and
Yeah.
and that's for real, right? We
Yeah.
know. I know. I don't know. I know from my clients, and I know from my own example, is
Uh-huh.
that we do actually attract the opposite
Yeah.
in a core level.
Yes.
At first, the honeymoon stage is for real
Mm-hmm.
because
So
everybody
much
wants
fun,
to
by the way.
comply.
Woo!
Yeah, and it could last a year. It could last like a year,
Yeah.
before you actually like settle. So here's the thing that I learned about that. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember that when you know there's a certain stages to the honeymoon stage,
Mm-hmm.
which is everybody wants to please, the both parties want to please everything else.
Yes.
You may have never gone skiing, but guess what? You're going
Going
skiing
skiing.
that day,
And you're wearing pink.
and you're wearing pink, or you're wearing It's like things that you never really do. Your partner will draw out.
Yeah, we'll draw it
And
out.
then the same with the opposite way.
Yes.
Like things that maybe you don't that you think might have been boring or whatever, you're going to comply with that calm, settled place, right? And then what I remember is that when there's another phase of the honeymoon stage where when say like 6 months or 7 months have come by, right? And you're doing this it's all nice and dandy and all this stuff. And then you head out to a barbecue or whatever, and people start to say, hey, yeah, you guys are like a thing, right? You're a couple, right? As soon as there is an established role,
Yes.
and it's now confirmed, hey, we're a thing, right? And you maybe even you haven't even talked about it, but if somebody actually acknowledges that this is actually a thing, that this is happening, that we're a thing, that the couple's at an established relationship, then that is kind of the turning point to where people start to go back to what they normally do. If one is a workaholic or the other one is, into a lot of hobbies or whatever that is, they're going to start going back to being themselves.
Yeah. I've noticed it's not always just like that, but that definitely is one of the key elements that sometimes
right.
it's
Is a turning point in there somewhere
sometimes
where
it can make it or break it.
Yeah, where it starts to just evolve into a different kind of, because it's actually safety in the relationship.
Yes.
And so then now that there's safety in the relationship, okay, so now I can actually kind of be myself, right?
Yeah.
Right? And no, I don't want to go skiing all the time.
You go.
Type
Go
of
with
thing.
your buddies.
Yeah. Something else, right?
Yeah. No, definitely.
What else do you think?
With that comfortness, we if you're more of, like I said, an introvert, you'll have a tendency to be, how can I put this? You'll pull back and do your thing, be less, let's say, romantic, or less this and less that. But it's really a compliment. You have to think of it as that the person finally got comfortable with you to really be themselves. And now they just feel like they could be more a part of you, and then you accept them. The problem is my extroverts go, we used to go skiing together. He used to bring flowers. Something's wrong.
Yeah.
And I love my extroverts. I just love them to death because they'll create a happiness. Like they'll make the bedroom and put petals everywhere,
colors,
and the introvert's like, what the hell is going on here?
Yeah.
And my extrovert will be like, we're not doing anything no more. Something's wrong. He goes, what are you talking about? I'm not leaving you. I'm staying right here.
Because they take that, and we'll get into that a little bit right now. Yeah, a little bit more about why that happens, exactly. Because there's these core traits, and there's also the feelings that go with those core traits.
Yeah. If there's no connection, my extroverts really have a hard time.
Right.
And my introverts, actually, they don't see it, as long as they're being supportive. That's the way they show that love.
And let me reiterate that we're talking about introverts and extroverts from the subconscious mind, because Frank and I are both certified hypnotherapists. So that's why when you hear us talk about this, it's not just like in general how we know growing up an introvert, extrovert is.
We just start nerding out in our hypnotherapy ideas.
Yeah. So
ask questions, okay, please.
Yeah. So, and during this, if you have any questions you could think of, you can also send them over to me at info@whatsyourvibeshow.com. And like I said, Frank, I think we should do quite a few series on this, because there's no way we can unpack this whole thing. This is only one small piece of the secrets of a successful relationship.
Yeah.
Okay. And like I said, I don't think we have enough time to really unpack it all. But we want to give you guys a sense of the conversations that if we would know this normally, like growing up, how it would be so much easier to understand why we either repeat these things, or the relationships go really bad really quick.
Yes.
Or even the relationship with our own family and kids and friends, right? Or how we attract the opposite of ourselves, even in our friends, right?
Definitely. And what we produce in them, and how we produce that feeling into them.
Yes. How we're looked at.
How we react to them, how they, all that stuff. Oh man.
Right.
So anyways, you were saying, there's so many more volumes.
There's so
to
many
go.
layers to this, but it's
Yeah.
really, really cool stuff. And what we're going to do is basically we're going to share our training.
Yes. Yes.
So this will be pretty fun,
Cool.
right? So let me see. So what else? So we talked about a little bit of that about our training,
Hmm.
which is only one small piece of it. We're also going to have to get into, which we can't do now, but just to give a little bit more background on the introvert, extrovert, subconscious, and the subconscious theme,
Right.
is that there is a big part of suggestibility that
Hmm.
needs to be learned. And this is all, the more you know about yourself, the more you understand why the environment affects you the way it does, why relationships affect you the way it does, why you
Hmm.
take in information a certain way, why somebody else might take it in a different way, how you deliver it might be a very big problem also. But sexuality and suggestibility. Now,
Right.
suggestibility, I'm sorry, but the sexuality part is really about how you behave in the world. And so then that is also part of something that we will talk about more later. But just to give you the gist of it, those are some of the topics that we're going to have to get into so that more of you can be very successful in your
Yeah.
relationships,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And
And the relationship with yourself is a huge one.
that's first. So this
Yeah.
is why
This is
this
what
is
we're talking about.
important.
This. Yeah.
Really, we're not giving you this information so you can be the relationship police. This is really for you.
Exactly. Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Hey, take it easy, officer. Take it
Right,
easy.
right.
Yeah.
Because as soon as you start to get this, you're
Hmm.
going to be in the room just like we did. We did it.
Oh
You know,
God.
we're like, oh, look
Yes.
at this
But it's
person.
such an aha moment
Yeah,
stuff. Like
they're an
you're like,
introvert and
oh,
they're
oh,
behaving
how
like
much
this.
they're touching me. They're touching me. Stop touching me. Oh man,
Right, right.
that means I have to touch them.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But because we know, right? So now we know
Yes.
how to deliver information or deliver just even the mood and the presence with somebody, right? So that they can feel comfortable, we can feel comfortable, and
Hmm.
the communication keeps evolving,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then there's this part. Well, we talked about the honeymoon stage,
Yeah. Right.
and then when it starts to switch over, there's a plateau stage. Do you
Right.
remember how would you explain the plateau stage? It's like which is the part where people kind of
It's where you start wearing sweats and
hey, there's nothing wrong with that.
you wake up and you stay in your whatever you do all day.
Maybe we should actually tell everybody because we know what we are.
Right. Right.
Okay, so I'm an introvert
Hmm.
in this, and so are you.
Right.
So, but there is a caveat to it
Yes.
because I think I'm an introvert. I can be an introvert all the way
Oh, really?
across. I don't know, but you tell me. You know me. I can't talk about myself. I just can't do it. So you do it.
Oh God.
You explain it better because there's also a defense part.
Okay. So what do you want? Okay, I could probably do myself first.
Okay, you do
So
yourself
It's
first.
kind of a little easier, and then I'll go
Okay,
do
you do it.
So for myself, how can I put this? I am an extrovert defense with an introvert core. Okay.
Let's
So
break that down now.
when I get nervous, I get more talkative. I get funnier. Like I at least I think I'm funny. I don't know. I don't know. Some people
Okay,
laugh.
you're funny. You're funny.
Some people will laugh. I'm like, damn, that's not working right now. Anyways, you guys don't worry about it. So extrovertness usually is my defense. I get nervous. I get talkative. I get nervous. I want to make people laugh, or something's going wrong. Like I just trying to, just my nature to do that. But the thing is that my core, because I let's say suffered a little trauma as a kid, my core got let's say hurt. So that's why my extrovertness kicked in to defend the core. My core is actually more introvert. So there's moments where like everybody thinks I'm extrovert. Like, how you doing? And they start hugging me, and
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, what are you hugging me? And I'm like, Frankie, you're not showing that all the time. You're in a place where you go, I love to dance, so you gotta be more extrovert.
Yeah, you start off high, and then you're going
Yeah.
to attract all that,
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
that
So-
high energy.
So I would say, Norma, you're definitely kind of the same, but you might think you're more introvert, the most. But the thing is since I would say we are more healers, we have a tendency to go back and forth. So sometimes we're a little more extrovert in certain situations, and sometimes we're more introvert. I would but I would say that depending on who your audience is, you kind of, I could see,
I could
I've
turn
seen
on
you do
and
that. You
turn
can
off
turn it
and
on,
turn
turn it
on,
off, really,
turn
yeah.
off. But I thought you bring up a good point, and I don't know. Do you want to share this part?
Definitely.
Okay, so
Yeah.
we do have this one thing in common.
Non-vegetarian. I'm just kidding.
I am too. I think I lean towards a vegetarian. No.
Yeah.
Anyways, so one thing we do have in common that as we grew up, and which uh, is this is why some people can do this
Yes.
back and
Yes.
forth, and it also makes your intuition higher, which I love
So
that
much.
point that
Oh
you
yeah.
brought up
Oh yeah.
because both of us grew up with an
Mhm.
alcoholic.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, definitely.
And so describing the journey with an alcoholic in a professional mode, now that we can break, because we broke that down in training,
Right.
and it's like, wow, that's our own aha. Wow. It was like,
Yeah.
what? Okay, I get it.
This is why I react towards this, or this is why when I get nervous, I
Right.
react that way.
So in general, when people grow up with an alcoholic, and you were right about that point, is that it's hard to read what's going on with the alcoholic because you don't know what mood, right? Go
Right.
ahead.
Well, it's just that you're seeing it through the eyes of a 7, 8-year-old, or
Yeah,
a 5-year-old,
a child.
You
Yeah,
know, so you don't have what we're doing here, right?
Right.
It's talking.
right.
As kids, you're just going off a vibe.
Yeah.
Right? What's your vibe? You know,
Yeah.
if you don't know if that person's going to walk through the door upset and drunk or happy, and all you have to do, and you need a red bike, you need to do a paper out or whatever it is, you're like, what's their energy?
Yeah,
The thing is that you don't shut that off as you become an adult. You know, who told you, no, don't pick up everybody's energy. This is where you're like, you're in a good mood, you hit the lottery,
right.
and you next to somebody that's really pissed off, now you're mad. You pick up other people's vibe,
Yeah.
other people's
Exactly.
problems. Put it that way.
So I loved how when we were talking about this, which was another aha moment for me, was that you said that's where we started developing our intuition.
Yep.
Because
Yeah.
we had to.
For
It
survival.
was survival mode.
It was survival mode.
I don't recommend it, but yeah.
No,
but
no,
it, but
no.
it, it works.
So some
it
people
works.
are just born with it, you know?
Yeah.
They're like the indigo children and all that.
Yeah.
Just kids, they're very like intuitive or
Yeah.
like they feel things.
Yeah.
And then some kids and we all have it.
We all have it because I do a lot of I do some development in intuition, like I
Yes.
teach it,
Yes.
right? But it's funny, but that I've always had a passion for it, and kind of had a like I knew that
Yeah.
I had this extra sense kind of thing, but not that it came from that. Like it came from such a place where I had to do it, right? So
Yeah.
it had to bring it out.
Yeah.
And I never had these discussions with people about,
Getting like the deja vu, you know, or having that sixth sense about somebody. And you're
Uh-huh.
right.
right.
You don't know if you should be talking about it.
Yeah. But at the same time, like that there is that part where, it's unique to people who come from kind of traumatic, child bringing, because, our dads they were alcoholics, and including everything that comes with an alcoholic, in the home.
Yeah.
And those of you out there know this stuff. They know
Go
it. You know
Al-Anon,
it.
okay? It helps so
Yeah,
much.
yeah.
Um,
But so this is part of how we got to know what we are, which brings in that defense mode also.
Yes.
Okay, so so let's reiterate a little bit more, like the defense part.
Right.
So, okay, you mentioned because you can be like this in one way, but then we have to switch it
You have
and
to
turn
switch
it. Right.
Because you could, your defense is just what it is. It's you defending yourself, and it's your day to day. It's what your best foot forward goes. You're trying to show that core won't get hurt. You're trying to make sure it doesn't get hurt. So you pick up your extrovertness or your introvertness. It doesn't matter which one you are. And by the way,
It's like a cover,
It's
right?
like a
Because
cover.
the introverts really they want to not show, don't touch my emotions. I
Yeah.
don't want to do
No, I don't
anything
wanna
on the
talk about
emotion stuff.
emotional
Yeah.
side. Oh yeah.
Right.
And imagine if I would say if you're a woman, you're supposed to be more emotional, right? You're not connected to that.
Oh, that's all false premise.
I know
anyways.
exactly. It's very false promises. Because
Have
it
you
doesn't
heard my
matter
husband
if
speak?
you're.
Tony is a very passionate speaker.
Oh yeah.
Okay, he
But
breaks
it
all
doesn't
the
matter
rules.
if you're male or female.
Doesn't-
by the way.
it's not a
Doesn't
gender
matter.
bias,
It
no.
does not gender bias.
No.
That's why I'm bringing up that point.
Yeah.
So but society is portraying that for you, and sometimes you get to have a hard time with it.
Yeah.
So if you're an introvert woman and you have a hard time with emotion, it's okay. It's just who you are. You're going to attract somebody that has no problem with it, by the way.
Right.
Unless you have a little bit, so they don't have to come forth. So I know when I'm dealing with a high introvert, my extrovertness kicks in.
Right.
And I'm trying to like balance
Balance it out.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, they're great. Don't worry. They're just quiet. And how
Yeah.
you doing? No.
Well, we kind of know how to bring that up and balance that out. I mean,
Yeah.
that's our job.
Yeah,
That's
it
our
has
job.
to. It has
That's
to.
our job.
And then remember what we're saying is the reason why we know this stuff is because in hypnosis, you're going to cater to their subconscious in order to give them the best outcome, the best direction. Once you know their subconscious mind, then you know what motivates them. What motivates them in their fears and their phobias? What motivates them in relationships? As an introvert, they love connection, but they love more supporting. Meaning, there's electricity, there's food, things like that. Where my extroverts, they're more about the emotion, the connection. They lead with the heart, then the brain.
Which gets.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
I'm an introvert, so I'm biased, but it gets the extroverts. They can get themselves in a lot of trouble
But
like
us
that 'cause it's
introverts,
hurting.
we lead with the head, then the heart.
Yeah,
Sometimes you just better
we're
lead
too
with
much
the
in our
heart.
head.
We're too much in
I
our
am
head.
too much in my head. So like this whole project is actually to stretch myself a little bit more out there and commit myself
You gotta
to
start anchoring.
right,
I think
right.
about you.
But I think because of the core part of this is to really be able to share stuff that why isn't this common stuff?
Right.
They don't teach us this stuff in school. They don't teach us.
No.
We just don't learn the basic stuff.
No, and it's you're gonna be surrounded by people all your life. You might as well or figure something out.
Yeah.
Something that's just to help
But
you
it still
navigate
goes
through
back.
the world.
It still goes back to like the more you know about yourself,
Yes.
so that you can find out who is around you and how to manage that, right?
Yes, yes.
And find some peace with a
Because
lot of those
if you're
changes.
not doing, how you say, people are reacting to you because maybe you're not. They don't feel connection to you, or maybe you said something that was very direct. Especially me being an introvert, sometimes I can say one word and assume that you understand what I'm saying.
Delivery and the tone, right? So I
Yes.
tend to be okay. So just a little tidbit, but it's like to me, Tony's the softie. He's totally okay when it comes to parenting. Tony's the softie.
Oh yeah.
All right. So it's more like just to give you an example, a general example. Like if one of the kids was walking around and then they fell and they looked like they were going to cry, I would not be the first one up running to the rescue. I would be observing first and then going, and Vanessa might not like this, but yeah. But I would be observing. I'm not too far away, but I'm observing. But
Yeah.
Tony would be like right on it.
But
Right?
it's also like I would say, as a guy thing was we love being the hero.
I don't know. Tony's
I'm
just
telling
like
you,
that with
we love
everything.
being the hero. Like, isn't it an opportunity to be the hero? Like, right,
You're
we're right
right.
there. But yeah,
But in Tony's, you can see it in our parenting style,
right, right.
And there could be layers to that too because he's not also
No.
around like all maybe certain weeks, and then he's on the weekend.
Which one's better?
What
The parenting style.
well, they both balance out because
Yeah.
when they are older, like, because my kids would tell me, "Mom, you just don't care," and I'm like, "I do care." Oh my god! But like I'm heartless.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I'm showing you stuff for life.
yeah, whatever, So then they have to get over it, right?
Yeah.
And then,
but
but
then
no,
as
but
they get older, they actually like, oh, I was actually teaching me something. How to actually.
I'm still kind of waiting for that moment. I mean, the older ones are kind of getting it, but not the younger ones.
It's gonna take time. Norma.
Yeah, it takes time. Yeah, after 30 years
30
old,
yeah, we come around,
right?
Yeah. But it's teenage years, man. Those are some hard ones.
Right.
Ooh.
So I recognize all these different things now because I am more aware of myself, right?
Yeah.
And so then at the same time, because I am seen as heartless, so I can also deliver things differently and be more compassionate to the other type,
Well, you're more
the
direct.
extrovert. Yeah. So my delivery is more direct, so it seems to the opposite person, like the extroverts. I mean, to the extroverts, that I'm just kind of cold. It's kind of a cold delivery,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I have to, for my sake and for my understanding of how to develop relationship, I have to be very compassionate about the opposite of what I am. Why am I going to be so blunt with somebody who is very extrovert and very passionate and wears their feelings, right in front? Why am I going to be so direct and so blunt?
Because you've already said, please, thank you. You should really think about doing this, but you said it in your head.
You're right. Right. right?
I've
I
said
don't,
things, and I'm like, why did that person get upset?
right.
And I remember a colleague, I was just telling him like, "Oh, you're sick. Okay, I understand." In my head, I said, "I understand. I got sick myself, and this is kind of what I did, and I hope you feel better." And what came out was like, "Oh, you'll be fine. You'll get over it." And they're like, "Damn."
But we mean it in a good way.
We
Don't we
mean it
mean
in
it
a
in a
good
good way?
way.
All right. All
I would
right.
say it's more like, it's how if you said it like, "Hey, get over it," or "Hey, you'll be fine. You'll get over it.
But
Don't
it's
worry."
still, it comes back to bite me every
It
time.
does. Yeah, no, it's
So,
happened to me a
and
lot.
like I said, my kids have been my greatest
I had to like
teachers.
pull back and be like, "Okay, they need more from me, Frankie. Say
Yeah.
something more."
A little bit more, yeah,
A little more
compassionate.
finesse.
And then we're biased though. We're introverts, so then we're gonna pick on the extroverts.
Haha.
Okay, so here let's go into and I'm not sure how much time we have, but let's go into
Well, how long
this.
is this? I didn't even ask you. Is
I
it an hour or
It's
15
almost
minutes?
an hour.
Okay,
Now I
okay.
have this nice little
Oh,
intro
that's
that
beautiful, by the way.
Christian helped me
Yeah. Good
make.
job, Chris.
All right, so yeah, we'll find out what the time is. But
Cool,
anyways, let's get
cool.
into the priorities
Ah, the
of
priorities. I
the
love the priorities.
introvert and the extrovert. And we're going to ask
Priorities in
you
life.
to listen to this part and find and just listen to this part and then determine yourself what you think you are. And then and then you can even ask me more questions or whatever. You can send me the email, like I said, at info@whatsyourvibeshow.com. And what we'll do is we'll describe, because there's actually a test for this. And we administer this test to our clients.
Yes.
And maybe we should talk about, maybe even if they email us and ask us, maybe we should do something to that effect. But we can describe more, a little bit more on the
Pull somebody
introvert
off the street.
or the extrovert.
Test them. No.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, no.
But the introvert and the extrovert, we can maybe we can put it on paper to define it, and then if somebody emails us, we can give
I
them
actually have like a
little
little
bit more.
questionnaire. I have like little things that I do.
Yeah.
Or even
We'll
handwriting
have to figure it out.
samples. Yeah.
We'll figure
I
it
love
out,
doing the
and then, but
handwriting
just
samples.
email if there's an interest in this conversation,
There you go.
and you want to know more about yourself, email us, and then we can keep going, because we're gonna have to actually do more shows just to get more
Yeah.
of this kind of conversation out there, because we want everyone to be successful in their relationships.
Just be
Right?
informed.
And
the
these
more
are
you
really
know.
kind of kept secret.
Yeah.
We really need to talk about this more often.
Yeah.
Okay, so here we're going to give you the crust of this and probably have more conversations about it. But so I like to explain to my clients that there are, and I'm going to look at my notes, but there are priorities to both,
Yes.
right? Okay, so for instance, on the extrovert side, and if this is one of these is you, just let us know. The extrovert side, there's four priorities, right? So on extrovert side, there is sex and relationships is a priority. Second priority is children. Third priority is friends and hobby. And fourth priority is career. On the introvert side, you're going to have career, finances first, is the first priority. Hobbies is second. Relationships and family is third. And friendship and intimacy is fourth.
Yes.
Okay. So imagine that on the norm, we attract the opposite. Okay. So then you have a partner who, on the norm, is opposite of, on the first priorities, would be sex and relationships and career and finances. So when you're interacting in a partnership, when you know this about yourself and you know that you're attracting the opposite, then you're going to come to understand that it's just kind of like it's like an inherent kind of way of being for the other person. It's not that they're trying to make it seem like they want to spend less time. But remember, after the honeymoon stage, people will become themselves a little bit more because there's more security in the relationship, and you settle into yourselves more. So little by little, it may seem like you're going the opposite way of when you started, but in fact, you're actually trying to be more yourself because you are more feeling secure in the relationship.
Well, I also see it as that there's a reason why our species is so successful. It's because we're the opposite. It's like, it's not that you're two halves that are coming to make a whole. Is that your two halves become like a greater whole. You
Right.
both are very unique and have your wholeness, but now you're balancing the checkbook and going out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You're hugging the children and they have dental. It's that balance between the two.
Or learning to hug more and,
Oh
not be in
yeah,
your head
yeah,
all the time.
definitely.
So there's different aspects to this, but
But there's also, when I guess maybe we'll have time next time, we could talk about how to get the honeymoon stage back. That's a big
yes. So
one. Yeah.
so this is the part
That's the
where
fun
the
part.
more you learn, the more you learn about yourself, and that you are understanding the opposite of yourself, then those are things that you bring up as a couple. Like, you're not working your way out of being a couple; you're working your way into being a new couple, right? And so some of those examples, yeah, like being, like, for the finance person, for the career person, the introvert, maybe learning that they might actually be too much in their head,
Yes.
and the introvert person is more like wanting to protect their feelings. So then it seems like they don't care, but they might not have the tools to go into anything that's going to affect their emotions as much, right?
Right. Right.
So
It's a
learning,
protection.
yeah. So those could be
Yeah.
protections, and those are the kinds of things that you can learn about your partner, right? And so then it would be a little different in how you enter into a conversation or get them to talk about something, right? And then opposite way would be, you are in a career mode phase, right? And then learning to keep in touch with the opposite person who is in, who their way of communicating would be intimacy and relationship, right? And if you are gone to work all day for 8 hours, 10 hours a day, and you don't even text or call or drop a note or say I'm alive, the person might feel like they're being rejected,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. And then, so you bring up one that's key element, is that my extroverts, their biggest fear is rejection. They don't like to be rejected whatsoever. And then if you're an extrovert, and excuse me, that's for extroverts. But if you're an introvert, what's your greatest fear? Do you remember that one?
If you're if I'm an introvert, what is my biggest fear for that?
Yeah.
Well, my biggest fear is to do stuff like this. Don't put me on the spot. Don't put me on the
Sorry,
spot.
No, it's losing control.
Oh, the control part.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I knew you were gonna get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. The control part is huge for us.
I have a
Yeah.
control problem. Yes.
That's when somebody starts touching us. Like, we feel like, wow, they're so on top of us.
And you're in my space.
What are you doing? Who are you? Right?
Yeah, because physically, also, yeah, the extroverts,
Uh-huh.
they're
They wanna
very
touch
they're very
us.
touchy feely.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so the introverts are not so touchy feely unless you're giving them permission to do it.
Yes.
Right? Where is that part of the controlling the atmosphere about it?
Yeah, especially
right?
what happens with my introverts. We're in our heads. We're not even out here or in our bodies. So touch sometimes hurts.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, it was like, ow, why do you touch me so much?
because then that's part of the intimacy.
Yes,
Right?
very much so.
So, which I should say that is like when it comes to intimacy, okay, sex becomes this thing for the extroverts. It's part of confirming a relationship. It's everything is intimate, right?
Yes.
So having sex is actually a confirmation of
There
it.
you, yeah, definitely.
So in an introvert, sex is actually more of a form of release.
yeah, no,
Right?
definitely.
So then, on the movies how they show like one there's a couple that just finished having sex or whatever, and then the one is like all huggy
High
and wants to
five.
snuggle and
Right.
talk, and the other one's just like,
Thanks.
Yeah,
High
that was
five.
good. Yeah.
I have a cigarette now. I'm gonna go back to work.
I've seen it even in the movies. They kind of
Oh, yeah.
portray the
Oh, yeah.
both,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So in real life, and you might want to think about this now because I didn't think we have to talk about the sex part. We have to.
You
It
have
doesn't
to.
matter.
But
So-
like there's also you remember the cycle days, like how
Oh,
yeah, but that's why I didn't talk about the how to get back to honeymoon stage, but that involves the honeymoon stage immensely.
this is true.
Yeah, so I don't know how much time we have. Is this so juicy Like, you gotta want them,
I
leave them. What? Wanting more? Is that what it is?
I think that we might have to just make that a whole thing, but just to give them
Yeah,
a tiny
a tiny
bit
bit.
of information. Well, I think we gave them a lot of information because
Yeah.
okay, for the sex part, that would take a little bit more conversation probably because we'd have to bring in how to bring that
How to bring it
honeymoon
back?
stage in,
Yes, back. How to bring
right?
it back?
How to
Yeah.
bring it back because they need to know both sides of this,
Yeah.
right?
And,
And
well, just I
yeah,
guess a piece of it is that, just so you know, we were talking about how my extroverts, they confirm their relationship through sex. Okay, through intimacy. They
right, the
know,
extroverts,
right? The
right.
extroverts. If an introvert is not in his body or her body, she's gonna reject, or he's gonna reject the extrovert a lot. No, 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 I don't. No, not right now. I'm busy. I'm working. No, 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 no.
Because it depends on the also the
Yeah,
again delivery and
delivery and
timing
timing.
for that kind of intimacy for
Yes,
both
yes,
sides
for both
because then
sides.
one might take it like it's a job
Hmm.
and the other one
But if
will
somebody's
be
constantly bugging you for sex, how does it feel?
it feels like you want it just
Controlling.
like yeah it's like too
Yeah.
controlling and it's
When you're,
like
what does an
not on your
introvert not
terms
like?
and
Being controlled.
right being controlled
So we could go
exactly.
into more next time about the cycle of that.
Maybe
And
we should just do that one next time,
yeah, no,
the
definitely,
whole
definitely.
how to bring that
Like I
honeymoon
said, you
stage
gotta
back
let them leave
into
him with wanting
yeah
more.
we'll leave them with wanting more.
But
But
it's
this is
really,
pretty good.
really
This is
good.
pretty good.
Yeah, no.
I just need let's see. Where the reason I'm a little lost is cuz my technician just walked out. And he had a little emergency, so that's why we're still taping here, but I'm not sure
What time
how
did he
much more
start?
time we have. Um
Oh, okay. So maybe 5 more minutes, 5, 6 more minutes, right?
it could be.
Yeah.
Could
Well,
be.
but he knows. He probably.
I know, but he needs to walk back in here so we can we can know how much time we have. But there but what else could we actually mention? We did mention the core.
The core, our defense, our core. Oh, the one that we were laughing so much earlier.
What?
Miss Piggy and Kermit the
Oh,
Frog.
here's another way to really go into that conversation is to actually pick out maybe because we're talking about yeah we're talking about like giving you examples, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So maybe if we pick out a couple celebrity couples, and then well why don't we talk about why don't
Like,
we have time to talk about that.
yeah,
Why
how
don't you
did
just
they
go ahead?
determine who they are, right? Like, how do they figure out if they're more introvert or extrovert? Obviously, we have tests, but for themselves to kind of understand that, because so examples would be celebrities
Right.
or Muppets.
Okay. Like a huge right away off the top would be like the Clinton couple,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
So who's the introvert and who's the extrovert? Very easy to tell.
Mm-hmm.
And if
Mm-hmm.
you have not been around, in case you were under a rock, and you can tell that Mrs. Clinton is the introvert,
Yes.
and that's why, and it matters. You see, it matters how you deliver
Uh
things,
huh.
right?
Well,
And how you come across.
I've noticed. This is my own little observation. I don't know if somebody else could tell me something different, but
Hmm.
I've noticed when we have a charismatic president,
Hmm.
our economy does very well.
Yes.
Doesn't matter if
Yes.
Democrat or Republican. If that
Do you think that's because there's more extroverts out there, or it's
you just have more that the delivery again.
yeah, the delivery?
The delivery. You could tell somebody they're complete idiots and they'll just walk away happily because you just the way you delivered it.
Yeah, some of our
been
former
told.
politicians
Like
are,
that. Yeah, yeah,
yeah, electeds have
yeah.
been very good at delivery, knowing their audience is
Knowing
what
your
that is.
audience is the
Knowing
key.
your audience,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Same thing. The more you know about yourself, the more you're going to know your situation and your audience. And in, when we talk about this how to get things back into honeymoon stage, it's
Yeah.
going to touch on the fact that if you think your relationship right now is not going well, or you feel like something's missing or something's changed, or you're just attitudes are changed or
Yeah.
whatever, that's when we can kind of pinpoint more examples of why that might be happening.
Hmm. Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Oh, so another one was that's why I whispered. Uh, Miss Piggy
oh
and
yeah.
Kermit the Frog. Who's the introvert? Who's the extrovert? Right. That one you could be see very easily. Another couple. I still don't remember her name. So Brad Pitt was with somebody, and before Angelina
Oh,
Jolie.
I don't know. I'm
Yeah.
really bad at
Anyways, but
that.
she was very career oriented. and he wanted a big family. He wanted that's what supposedly that's why they ended. So Brad Pitt was more the extrovert, and she was more the introvert. Those
Yeah.
priorities were matching up.
Actually, there's also, oh, hi, Lee. We were just talking about you, Lee. We just needed to find out how much time we have on this.
Oh, cool.
How much time do we have?
Let's see. I'll tell you in a second.
All right, good.
Because there's also physical traits.
Yes, physical traits. So you're talking about like body temperature. You're talking about
Yes,
somebody
yes.
that's more
Oh.
open on the way they dress.
How about in class when we were training, when like half of the class wanted the air conditioner up and the
Another
other half
half.
wanted, and this has nothing to do with hot flashes. This is just people are cold and people are hot, and
Yes,
they just,
yes.
you know,
Well, because my
insisted.
introverts, they go in their heads. So if they're studying something, all that blood is up here. My extroverts, I would say they learn more, kind of more with their body or more with an emotion. So their blood is in their body, so they
Yeah.
get hot.
Yes.
So I just say, either you're gonna wear warm clothes or wear a little less clothes.
Okay, so let's talk
you know
about
what I mean.
let's talk about the surface traits. then.
Okay, okay.
Okay, I think that's fun. Okay, so remember we have the introverts who let's
Mercy
let's
to
go
them.
over that real quick again
Okay.
so that they have a better because we kind of went all over the place with that. Okay, so again we have the the introverts and
Right.
the extroverts.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so the extroverts' core priorities are sex and relationships. So intimacy and relationships. Second is children. Third is friends and hobbies. And fourth is career. And so then the introvert, their priority is career and finances, hobbies, relationship and friendships, and intimacy and friendships.
Yes.
Okay. So of course we attract the opposite. So then this is where we get in trouble when we're not communicating correctly on the knowing what we are and what our opposite is. Okay.
And your opposite has the flip of what you
Yeah,
are.
we have the flip, and usually we attract the opposite. There are also another section we could talk about when we go to the other when we do another show on the honeymoon stage, bringing the honeymoon
Yes.
stage up about how
bring it
to
back.
bring it back, and that part of the flip and understanding why why it can feel like we're getting apart instead of working our way into a relationship. We'll talk about that then. But so the other piece of knowing the priorities are also some surface traits, like for example, like with us, we right away knew who the introverts were and the extroverts were in the room because it just off of who complained about the air conditioner and stuff because of what you just said.
Here's a
Explain.
really cool one that I like to share. With women, you could tell by their feet.
But men too.
Not so much. It's mostly
I've seen it.
mostly how they walk. So if they walk with their feet out, more extrovert.
Well, you're giving away too many secrets at one time. Too many secrets. Because those are some, right?
Yeah.
Okay, here's some kind of well, one is the temperature, so the body temperature, right?
Top body temperature, yes.
Yeah. So the ones who run hot, usually in our experience has been that they are the more extrovert people.
Yes.
Right? And the ones that run cold are more the introvert people.
Yes.
And I run cold, like my feet and my hands are usually cold, right? So it takes me a while. Or I could be in the room and it's just still cold for me. So I feel comfortable wearing a sweater. And people are looking at me like, why are you wearing a sweater? It's like, so half the room could be all, extroverts and they're
Yeah.
all wondering why I'm wearing a sweater.
But if your defense is an introvert and you're getting cold, you're just in your head.
Yeah.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
can snap out of it too. You can move back into your body.
Right.
Yeah. Like I do. I go find an extrovert and then be like, just talk to him for a couple minutes and I'm laughing. And
Yeah.
back
So
in the
like
zone.
bringing up the energy,
Bringing up
right?
the energy.
Especially for us, because we know we're introverts, right? So we need to balance out with somebody who's extrovert.
Yeah.
It's really weird how I do have so many extroverts around me, my friends, and they're exhausting. They're so exhausting.
Tell me how
And
you
they
really
know
feel.
this.
Don't know how they back.
Right. No, but they know this. They know this about me. They're like, hey, you never want to go anywhere. You don't want to do anything. I'm like, I do. I do.
But it's more like in chunks. Like,
Yeah.
give us one day out of the week and then maybe 2 weeks later or a week later.
And I need like 3 days motivation to go do that.
Uh-huh.
Go to a club and stuff because if I'm not feeling it 2 hours before that, I'm like, oh, can't go.
There you go. Sorry.
You should know this about me. All right.
It's
So-
no offense to my physicals or my extroverts.
Right.
It's just we're not in that frame of mind. We have to work at it. That's what it is.
Okay, so I'm going to just read off of this. This is the
Do it.
surface traits. Okay, so how much
these are
time we
fun.
have? So these are the
Extroverts.
the physical traits on these are, so the extrovert traits are what likes to draw attention to his or her body, usually wearing nice clothes, low cut dresses maybe, or open shirts, skimpy bathing suits. She will choose not to wear appropriate clothing for formal occasions. You have those people who come in, right? And they're like, maybe they're overly blinging on a business attire type of party or whatever. Those are extroverts.
Usually.
Okay, those are extroverts.
Or just somebody with a high defense.
A high. Oh, true. This is
Yeah.
okay. Because remember, we're talking about introverts and extroverts from a subconscious level. Okay, we're not the norm how we know it, but it's kind of relates, but not really. But sometimes it does. Like for this example.
You got to think of it as that people are a body of emotions.
Yes.
Not always 100% just this.
Exactly.
Yeah. And especially if you run between the two, then you're very intuitive and you're always going back and forth.
Right. So and also, how you learned it.
How you
learned
Yeah.
it. Like,
your developing years.
in the developing years, which is a whole other show.
Another show.
Yeah. We don't
be
want to mess
fun.
everybody up right now.
Just take it easy.
We're going to bring you in slowly, but you think this is the hot topic. No. So, then the extroverts will, they'll have more stylish hairdos and they'll have their nails done all the time, right? And maybe they're the ones who also use like the brighter colors, not the conservative look and stuff. Because, like I have my nails done all the time. I like having that done. But, and my nail lady always wants to give me these nicer, different colors. And I'm like, no, French tip is okay.
Like a hook on it. And bedazzled.
Yeah,
a
bedazzled
whistle.
and do all this. And I just don't. I'm just like, I'm all right. So, but the extroverts will do that then, and they have a lot of fun with that. And I really do admire the extroverts. I really do.
They got really good fashion sense.
Yes, a lot of fashion sense.
Yeah.
This is true.
I
And
always
so then
ask,
that's the
how's this
fashion
look?
sense.
Tell me, what do I wear today?
Right.
I
And-
definitely call. I send pictures. Help! I don't know what to wear.
Yeah, and we'll go with the safe.
Yes.
This is safe, right? Black, white, brown, blue, all safe.
great.
Right? And so then the emotionals, I keep going to a word that we discussed before because I'm also thinking about a different way we learned it.
Yeah.
But the introverts, okay, so like I said, they'll dress more conservatively. They'll button up a little bit more.
Up to the top.
Right,
there,
up to the top.
Their lungs covered.
And they'll definitely, make sure what is appropriate for that
Yes.
dress. If it's a business attire, I'm going to do whole research on what is business attire.
I remember when I first had to learn what a black tie was. I was going to an event. It was a black tie event.
black tie.
I'm like,
What's a
what's? But I know a black tie. But what? Is there more detail to
Yeah,
that? Like
yeah,
I
yeah.
overthought it, overanalyzed. I was online. I called Christina from our office, and she was like, "No, just wear like a black suit with a black tie." I'm like, "Oh."
Yeah. And that's the introvert in us. It's like, oh no. And then we'll
no.
freak out about it.
Yeah,
I
before we
do.
get
I
there.
would freak out about it.
Yeah.
So then, so then it's totally opposite of the extroverts, of course. The hairdos are more conservative. The nails, like me, I like
sometimes will be conservative.
cars. Yeah,
Yeah.
it'll go into everything.
Oh.
It'll
Do you
be
remember-
how you go into their home. It'll be a little more conservative. The extroverts just like a lot of color and pop and things like that.
I don't know if I remember this from our schooling, but it might have been just something that came up. But do you know how to sell to an introvert or an extrovert?
How to sell
Let's say you're selling a car to an introvert.
economy.
Yeah. Economy, how many miles it has, how much it's going to save in gas, how it's going to.
I'm telling you guys, when you learn this about yourself, this will apply
you'll know
to
your strong points.
everything. Yes.
Yeah. And
Because
that's why
you'll
I
know who's in front of you and
Yeah.
you'll know how to deliver information.
That's why I like who's my
This is
opposite.
not tricking anybody.
Yeah,
This
yeah,
is
no,
just
no.
knowing about how it really is in communications.
Yeah,
you
my
know?
opposite points out things that I would never see.
Yes.
And
yeah.
then, or usually they're very like amazing like editors. They're amazing like writers. So it's so intricate, and I fascinate that. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm so like, that's cool that
Yeah.
you found that, or that's
Yeah, that's why I admire
Yeah.
the extroverts, because they, like, even in writing or in whatever I'm like, if I'm saying something, they will hear when I'm just being too monotone.
Uh-huh.
They would like this
Yeah.
new intro that I have. It took a few, took a few. I was working with an extrovert, and he's like, you just, you're like dying at the end. So can you just kind of bring it up a notch? Just like, I thought I was,
Espresso.
I don't want.
Espresso.
So I start screaming, and like, no, not screaming, just happy. Just like happy. So I know that this is me, so I don't take offense to this anymore.
Yeah, no, I
Before
used
I
to
would be
too.
like hurt all the time, because like I am not behaving that way, but I
I
was.
used to get people tell me like, I can't get you. I can't understand you.
Yeah,
And now I
they
know,
can't
I know
read it.
they can't read me.
They can't read you.
Yeah, and now I know why. It's because I was showing a big defense, and then all of a sudden I became an introvert somewhere.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Whoa, what is that?" And then I have like a manual now. Whoever I'm dating, I give it to them.
Right.
Read this, and then come back to
This
me.
is me, and if you agree,
If
then
you
we'll
agree,
go on a
sign at
second
the
date.
bottom, and then a second date will happen.
Right?
Yeah, yeah.
So that's the
But
thing.
it seems
That's
so
the thing.
much easier though.
And we
Oh.
can also talk about
Ooh.
on the next show. We will talk about like if you have two introverts or
Oh,
two
yeah.
extroverts, and how that relationship. It's not impossible, but it's kind of really kind of managing it a little bit
Yes.
more with awareness.
Yes.
It's a little harder because can you imagine two introverts and their core priorities are work and finances, so they're going to be working all the time.
Great
They're-
credit.
but they're not really going to be together.
Amazing savings, but they won't
But
hang
they
out with
won't-
anybody else.
and they won't create a relationship with
No.
that's the thing.
No. They create finance.
Okay, so now we're running out of time,
Yes.
and I want to remind everybody how to get a hold
Oh,
of you.
uh-huh.
Okay, so your company name is
Finding Life's Compass.
okay. So do you have an email that
Yeah,
they
yeah.
can? We
It's-
also have Facebook. Also,
Also on Facebook, it's Frank W. Dot and then BANOS at findinglifescompass.com. If you go on my website, also I give 3 free audios. So if you want to, let's say, relationship issues, connection issues, stop smoking, losing weight, so you just got to put your email there, and we will send you 3 free audios. And also, I'm working on my book.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes!
Finding Life's Compass, and they're going to be a couple of volumes on just like things like this. This is like relationship hacks, I call them, right?
Yeah.
They're just things that breaks it down to more of the simple instead of that, overthinking or analyzing. It's just, he's just being introverted right now. He needs his space, or she needs her space,
or I'm being introverted right now.
or I'm being introverted,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And then so it'll be a little life hacks and how to use your subconscious to your benefit. Use your tools that are good for you. So also you can find me on Facebook. I also have a business page for Finding Life's Compass. And please have more questions, and I look forward to it. This has just been fun, by the
This
way.
is gonna be
Let's do
right.
more. I can't wait till the questions come in. So then I love feeding off those
Yeah,
questions.
so we'll have enough time for everyone to bring in questions. Like I said,
Mm-hmm.
send questions over to info@whatsyourvibeshow.com.
Right.
And if you have any suggestions on what topics you kind of want to hear, let me know. And then, but for Frank and I, we're gonna keep talking about being. We're actually gonna keep sharing the secrets of successful relationships. Is what we're doing, right?
Definitely. Yeah,
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so also you can find me on Facebook. I also have a Facebook called What's Your Vibe? And we will post all what we can. We'll just keep posting some new stuff.
Yeah.
Give them some more tips and stuff like that.
Definitely.
And we'll get out there.
Yeah.
All right? See you next time, guys.
Take care, guys.
This will be a thing.
Oh, yeah.
This will be a thing, Frank.
Definitely. High five.
Bye.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, everybody.